You being too sensitive about asking your best friend to change her wedding date. Are you being too sensitive about asking your best friend to change her wedding date? Background. My 29-year-old female mother passed away 7 years ago from ovarian cancer. This was very difficult for me since I did not have much extended family, and my father was inconsistent about talking to me, so I was largely alone. The cancer was also extremely sudden. Ovarian cancer is one of the types that often goes unnoticed until late stages. It felt like one day she was there, and the next she was not. My best friend of 25 years, whom I will refer to as Jen for the purpose of this post, 30-year-old female, got engaged at New Year's. I was extremely happy for her, obviously, and I am going to be a part of her wedding party. She and her fiancé have just booked the date and venue for next year, and it is on my mother's death anniversary. Official invitations and other materials are not yet out. She only told me about this in passing conversation. I tried not to think anything of it at first. I know that the world does not revolve around me, but the more I thought about it, the more uncomfortable I felt. I know how I behaved during that time of year, and it is not pretty. I know for a fact that I will be extremely emotional because I always am, and I will feel guilty for not visiting my mother's grave like I usually do. It is not really the atmosphere anyone wants at their wedding, especially from one of their bridesmaids. I also felt a little annoyed that Jen had even booked it on that day, since she knows that is when my mom died, given our long-standing friendship. I know this feeling is irrational. After sitting with it for a while, I attempted to discuss the matter with Jen and asked her if maybe she could change the date since it was still early in her planning process, and she had not yet sent out the invitations. She told me that it would be very difficult for her to do so once it had already been booked, and that she did not even think about my mom when doing it. I am unsure whether this is true or not, as she has accompanied me on visits to my mom's grave on that day and usually joins me in my annual venting session around that time. However, perhaps she might have forgotten during the stress of wedding planning. I do not know how wedding planning works. I did not argue with her, but it did feel like a bit of kick. I did inform her that it would likely be challenging for me on that day, but I would try my absolute best to support her and remain positive. She then accused me of trying to coerce her into changing the wedding date and that it was not about me at all, and that if it was such a big deal, she could simply stay away from the grave visit. That I could visit my mom's grave on any day. I never said that I would not be able to attend. I can visit the grave whenever I want, but it was more about the general sadness of the day for me. I did not think I was being impolite by asking, as I never said she had to do it and I was not trying to coerce her. I just figured that maybe with how long we have known each other, she would consider it, but I made it clear that I would still attend the wedding either way. I am unsure. We've been talking normally since then, but this conversation is just playing on my mind, and I regret asking. I genuinely just want to know if it was a mean move to ask or not. Am I being mean?